At my mom's birthday, I walked in with a handwritten letter for my kids in a small gift box. My sister rolled her eyes and said, "You always have to be the emotional one." My mom just said, "Set it down and sit over there." I nodded, set it down, and left. 20 minutes later, my brother texted, "Why did her card get declined at dinner?" An hour later, my dad was banging on my door. I opened it and saw. I think the moment I realized they never really cared about me or my kids was the exact second my mom looked at the gift box in my hands and told me to just set it down and sit over there. No smile, no interest in what her grandkids had made her. Just that cold familiar tone she reserves for me, like I'm the family inconvenience who keeps showing up uninvited. The thing is, I didn't go over the top. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I just wanted to do something meaningful. Evan, my 11-year-old, stayed up the night before writing a letter he kept rewriting because he wanted it to be perfect. He called her the cobbler queen and told her how he missed her stories. Nora, who is 7, spent 2 hours drawing this picture of her and Grandma planting daffodils. They were so proud, and I was proud of them. So, yeah, I bought a nice carved wooden box to put it all in. Added a pair of vintage earrings I found from a jewelry dealer in Maine, ones I remember my mom once pointing at in an old Sears catalog. And I included an $800 prepaid Visa card. Not a flex, just something useful because I remembered her complaining last year that she never gets anything she can actually use. I walked into the restaurant carrying the box and immediately saw Melanie's eyes roll. She was in one of her blazers that probably cost more than my mortgage payment, seated at the center like she was the guest of honor. Her kids were already halfway through their plates, loud and messy, and no one seemed to care. "You always have to be the emotional one," she said. Not to me, but loud enough that I was supposed to hear it. Daniel glanced up from his wine glass, gave me a nod like I was the waiter. Mom didn't even reach for the box. Didn't ask what was in it, just looked at me, then at the empty seat at the end of the table. "Set it down and sit over there." I nodded, set it down right in front of her, and then I walked out. Not in a dramatic storm-off kind of way. I just didn't feel like pretending anymore. Not one of them called out after me. Not a single person even got up to see what was in the box. I got in my car and drove until I hit a gas station 20 minutes away. I sat there staring at the windshield, watching a couple argue over a scratch ticket in the parking lot. I didn't even feel sad, just disappointed in myself for thinking this time might be different. Then my phone buzzed. "Daniel, why did her card get declined at dinner?" No "Hey, you okay?" No "Where'd you go?" Just that blunt, accusatory tone, like it was some kind of stunt I pulled to humiliate them. I didn't answer, just stared at the screen. An hour later, loud pounding on the door shook me out of it. I opened it to find my dad standing there with the gift box in his hands like it was garbage he was returning. He looked pissed. "You think this is funny? You gave her a fake card. She tried to pay with it and it got declined right there in front of everyone." I didn't say anything, just reached for the box. I opened it, Evan's letter, Nora's drawing, but the card was gone. "I activated it yesterday. Full balance," I said. That's all I could get out before he turned and walked off. No questions, no space for explanation, just pure accusation and disgust, like he couldn't wait to believe the worst about me. And there I was, standing in the doorway holding this half-empty box of love my kids poured their hearts into, knowing full well it never even had a chance. That was the moment. Not the restaurant, not Melanie's snide comment, not even Mom's indifference. It was standing there holding that box, realizing they didn't lose respect for me, they never had it to begin with. The next morning, I sat at the kitchen table while Evan and Nora were still asleep and I called the number on the back of the Visa card. I gave them the details and waited. The automated voice told me the balance, $800. Then I asked to speak to someone just to be sure. After a few minutes, a guy named Joel confirmed it had been activated, no holds, no flags. I asked him to check if anyone had even attempted to use it. He said, no attempts. Not at dinner, not anywhere. So, I sat there, phone still warm in my hand, staring at the box like it might change the facts. They hadn't even tried the card. Not once. It wasn't declined. It was ignored. The story they told, my mom handing it to the waiter, the embarrassment, the fake sympathy from Melanie, none of it happened. They just needed a reason to turn a moment of effort into something shameful. And they never read the letters. Never mentioned Evan's note or Nora's drawing. I knew that, too. I didn't tell my kids what happened. Evan kept asking if Grandma liked the part where he said her cobbler was better than cake. Nora wanted to draw another version of her garden picture, but with a cat this time. I told them we'd talk to Grandma soon, but I already knew we wouldn't. That afternoon, Daniel texted me, "We're going ahead with a cafe launch in October. Dad said you're still in for the capital?" The cafe was this long-time idea they'd been tossing around for years, a cozy little spot downtown, supposedly inspired by Mom's dream of owning a bakery, though I doubt she's ever baked anything that didn't come from a box. They wanted me as the main investor. I'd done well the last few years, and they knew it. I was the safe bet, quiet, low maintenance. They'd get the money, the business, and all the credit. But I hadn't wired a dollar yet. Hadn't signed a thing. I was supposed to finalize the paperwork next week. Instead, I left Daniel's text unanswered. Later that night, a group message popped up, "Melanie, of course, thanks everyone for a lovely dinner. Special thanks to Dad for picking up the tab after the little hiccup, smiley face emoji." Daniel laughed at it. My mom dropped a heart emoji. Me? I stared at it for a minute. Then I took the box out again, opened it slowly like it might still carry some magic. Nora had drawn herself holding my mom's hand, both of them with ridiculous smiles and huge eyes. Evan's letter had that last line scratched and rewritten 5 times. He'd made sure it ended with, "I love you, even if I don't see you much." I sat there for a while before sending a message back to Daniel, "Change of plans." I'm pulling out of the cafe project. Something came up. The reply came instantly. What do you mean? You said you were all in. I didn't answer. He called. I watched the screen light up and go dark. Then again, then Melanie, then Mom. None of them left a voicemail. The text that followed swung from confused to passive-aggressive to flat-out angry.